Alrighty, so here's an update on our C10 here. Got the heads back on, I got our rocker arms back on, got all new push rods, got all the poly locks on, valves are adjusted. And just a little tip out there, when you're adjusting valves with these poly locks here, what you want to do is back this all the way out. Either take this completely out, the lock, and adjust your valve, and then install that last. You can either do that or back it all the way out to where it's only threaded in about maybe one, maybe two threads. That way when you adjust the valve, you get a correct adjustment there. That's what you got to have. That's a little tip. So you can do it either way. But anyway, everything back together. And is it perfect? No, it's definitely not perfect. Got to do a little bit of touch up here. I know the block looks kind of horrible and crappy looking because it's full of grease and oil and everything else, but I'm not too worried about that. But when I pull this motor out, and I was still planning on putting it in my Biscayne, but right now it's kind of up in the air. But not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it yet, honestly. But either way, if I pull it out, I'll degrease the block real good, and I'll just throw a coat of paint on the whole thing, clean it all up. But we got new head gaskets, as you can see, of course, obviously. We got all new head bolts too. I still got to get new plugs for it. And so I got to dig a set of plug wires for it, and get a set of new spark plugs too. And we'll be just about there. I got to take and put another coat or two of paint on our intake here. Don't do that yet. So it ain't perfect, but this is what we got here. I gotta throw another coat on. I gotta clean the thermostat housing up too. That's just kind of sitting on there, and I still gotta order the oil fill tube yet. But anyway, that's what I'm gonna throw on here, and I'm excited about this. This is gonna be nice. But I got all the valves adjusted like I said, and I'm gonna take and change the oil in it, and then I'll take and once I fill this thing up with some fresh oil, and got the I'll throw a zinc additive in it. You gotta have the zinc for the flat tap that cam. Eventually I want to drop the oil pan on this thing and throw a new cam and set of lifters in it too. But right now, really all the lobes still look really good, so I ain't gonna really fool with it too much. But that'll be a little later thing. And of course, when I pull it out, I'll like to clean the block up and get everything looking, decent again. But the exhaust manifolds, they're just mocked on for now. I gotta paint them up, but it's definitely getting there. Looks so much better without that ugly old alternator bracket. Got rid of that, and plus we got rid of our issue down there where that ear was cracked, and looks so much better. But I got a visitor here. An unwanted visitor, I'll just say that. But yeah, anyway, I was working on my truck here, and all of a sudden I get a visitor come down, an unwanted visitor, and don't even know the person at all. Don't even know. It's just a fella that come down here and randomly pulled in my driveway. I'm like, what is this? It was nice to talk to him and all that, and kind of, I could tell. I mean, I don't judge people or nothing, but I could tell, he was, how can I say this? Not in the right state of mind. I just to say, and I don't mean mentally. I just mean in a negative way, if you catch my drift there. But I was real nice to him and all that, but he just randomly pulls in my driveway, and I don't mean nothing bad. I'd give the shirt off my back to anybody. But I could just tell, that he wasn't in the right state of mind, and he's in a negative way. Don't know if he was, how should I say, because I don't, I'm not trying to judge anybody. Don't want to say if he was drunk or what, but I don't know. But, it was a positive conversation. I didn't mean nothing bad with him, but it's just like, who the heck are you just pulling in my driveway, pulling on my property? It's not what I said, but it's like, Yeah, so I had a, and he sat right up there for like probably 10 minutes. Said he had to make a phone call, so whatever. But anyway, you know, I don't mean nothing bad against anybody, but, you know, I just not going to put up with that crap, you know. I don't mean nothing bad, but it's just, you know, bust my rear end to have this place. I don't need, you know, things like that. But anyway, enough about that. I'm not trying to make it negative, you know. He was nice, I was nice, you know, and, you know, went off peacefully. But, yeah, that's just kind of weird for somebody just to pull my driveway like that. Anyway, don't mean nothing bad. But, anyway, so this is a C10 here. And this is what we got, and like I said, got all our valves adjusted. We got our exhaust manifolds mocked up. Now I got to pull them back off because I got to clean the threads out in the head. Got a little bit of paint built up inside the thread, so I'm gonna take a thread chaser and clean all that out, and then we'll take our exhaust manifolds, bolted up for real, and then I think I'm gonna run these Proform valve covers. I know I'd said I'm gonna make this a 283, but I still might. But I think we'll run these for now. They do not have baffles, unfortunately. But that's really not a big deal. You can actually buy grommets that actually have baffles, we'll say, built into them. But anyway, I'm going to throw this intake and these valve covers on here, and it ain't really going to look any different, but let y'all see it. But yeah, these are the roller tip rocker arms here. I should have got full rollers, but you know, again, we were trying to make this look like a 283, and I was actually going to take a deburr, and I was going to try and clean all this markings off here. I was going to take a stud and grind it off flush with this head bolt here, the accessory holes. I was going to do that, grind it off flush, and then come in here with like a die grinder and smooth all that out, and then try and come up with I don't know if a needle scaler, or I don't think that would work too well, but try and recreate this cast iron emboss, that would be the correct word for it, or texture, so that it looks flush. That's what I was going to do, but I'm not doing all that because, you know, I knew that it's not a lot of material in here, and you don't want to grind. That's a lot of material to be taken off. You don't want to hit a water jacket, so I decided not to do that. But I'm thinking about, it's still up in the air about going a little slightly different direction. I might use that TBI motor and that Biscayne, but not 100% sure. But I did officially get, as a side note on here, I have officially bought, well, not really bought, but a little bit at a time. It's probably going to take all summer to do it because I just, you know, I can't afford it right now. I got too much going on. But I did, you know, that 454 that I got a video on a while back, that will be mine, and that motor will be going in here. But, you know, I pay a little bit every week on it. It ain't much, but, you know, and that's just the best I can do right now. But it is officially mine, so, you know, I got to finish paying it here, and we'll definitely, this truck is officially going to get a 454. It's a 80s 454, and, you know, I've been going back and forth between the tall deck and a 454, and if it's not a 4-bolt main, I'm still going to get it. Like I said in the video a while back, I said I'm going to get it, and worst come worst, we'll throw it in the Biscayne, and I will find the tall deck, because that's really what the direction I was going, honestly. Because it boils down to strength in lifters. Don't like a flat tap the cam, definitely not. But, I mean, for this application, I'm not too worried about it. But, it kind of boils down to, because I thought about this, kind of overthinking a little bit. Yes, I wanted a one-piece rear main seal, and I wanted the 4-bolt main. Regardless, I don't care, you know, don't mean nothing bad, don't care what anybody says. I wanted a 4-bolt main 454, because, you know, if I'm going to spend that money and I'm going to build it how I want it, I want a 4-bolt main. It's just the way it is, plain and simple. 4-bolt main or nothing, either go big or go home. I mean, I don't mean nothing bad about it, but that's the truth. You know, if I'm gonna put the money in a motor and spend all the time and effort into it, why not go with the best? I mean, that way it makes it so much better. But you know, this I'm just freshening up. You know, this is a little puny 305 here, Turtle 305, but got a couple goodies will help it out. We are going to delete the exhaust crossover right there. I got the gaskets for it, and of course it really don't matter anyway. You can run any style gasket you want, as long as the ports match up, of course. But it doesn't really matter if it's got that hole there, the exhaust crossover in the middle or not, because the intake we're going to run, and this intake's definitely not going to stay on this motor, if you're wondering that. I mean, we're going to run it for now so we can put this truck back to service, but it ain't going to stay on there. But doesn't really matter if the intake gasket has the hole there or not, because either way, it's got the block off plate. Well, it's cast to the intake, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, so I have got that 454, and I do a little bit of weak on it, because I just don't have it right now. Extremely tight, and if it's not what I want, we'll end up going that route and throwing that in that Biscayne. And then I will find a tall deck like I want. And to get back to what I was saying, it all boils down to, because I was overthinking a little bit, what style lifters do you want? You know, obviously I want, you know, a roller cam. So what it really boils down to is, do you want the factory roller lifters or do you want length bar lifters? And I'm scratching my head and I'm wondering about it. I was like, okay, which stronger? Do we want a plate going across there with 3 bolts holding it down and holding the factory roller lifters and the dog bones? That's what a lot of people call them. There's 2 little something, they look like a dog bone, but they go hold the lifters to keep them from turning and rotating. But do I, you know, want that style, the factory setup, or do I want the link bar setup? It boils down to the strength. What do you really think is stronger? Really, that's what it boils down to. So I decided they're a little more expensive, but if you catch my drift, link bar lifters, I think, will be the winner. Now that opens another window up, another door, and so now you're asking yourself, well, does it really matter? Do we want a newer 454 block, or do we just want to get an older block, as long as it's a 4-bolt main? Then, you know, that allows that door to open up. And it's like, you know, well, it really doesn't matter at that point, because that was the main reason I wanted it, because you can still get a 4-bolt main in an older block. That's pretty much unchanged. The only thing that's really changing is we're trying to get the 4-bolt main, and we can get that pretty much in any decade 454. I mean, so that really doesn't matter on that end. And the roller lifters really don't matter, because we're going to run link bar lifters, the retrofit lifters. So that really doesn't matter on that. The only thing that really matters is the one-piece rear main seal, because I really like the one-piece better. So, you know, it just things to consider. Yeah, I know I'm overthinking it a little bit, but, you know, that's kind of what it boils down to. You've got to ask yourself, well, when it boils down to, that's the whole reason why I want a newer block, is to get the factory roller lifters. Well, what's really stronger, the factory roller lifters or the retrofit lifters? I think, in my opinion, they're really equal, honestly. But the retrofit lifters, the link bar lifters, allow you to run them, you know, in any block you want, you know, new or old. That's why that's the winner, and I'm going with them. But anyway, don't want to get into that too much, but yeah, that's just weird. I don't know why that feller just pulled in my driveway and just, I don't know. But anyway, you know, everything's good. You know, this is positive. You know, I didn't say nothing wrong, but it's just weird. But anyway, got his information, but whatever. Don't know if he's lost or what, but this is what we got here, and real excited. So I'm gonna get ready to probably throw this intake on here. We gotta change the oil, we gotta prime this thing. I got an oil primer for it. We'll prime it, make sure we get all the oil back to our rocker arms. I gotta get a zinc additive. It's just a little ball I'm gonna buy, And I'll throw that in. Before we throw the intake on, we'll take some oil. We'll take a quart of oil, and we'll just very easily, we'll pour it over our rocker arms here on each side, all the way down. And then we'll come through and we'll take the same quart and pour it over our lifters and everything else, so it won't be a dry start. And then we'll just oil prime it. And then we'll make sure everything pumps up and throw the intake on for good. We'll get it top dead center on number 1 cylinder, and we'll take and throw our distributor in it and fire it up. And we'll make sure our temperature and oil pressure stays good, and we're going to let it ride. And then we'll have a truck back on the road. Thank God. Anyway, that's where we're at. Thanks for watching.